Hi everyone, I'm Miss Tracey, the Children's Librarian at the Millbrae Public Library. And in case you didn't know, even though we're closed, we are still buying lots of materials for all of our collections, children's, teen, and adult. And that's because you can still pick up items through our curbside pickup service, even while we're closed. And then, of course, at some point, we're going to reopen, right? So we want to make sure that we have fresh new items waiting for you at that time so you can browse and see new things. So I have been really excited to take a look at some of our older materials, some of which I really consider classics. They've been around forever and they continue to be checked out regularly, as well as some of the new items that are coming out that I think are going to be new classics in a generation or two and that people are really going to enjoy. So what I thought I'd do for this book talk is to highlight some of those classic materials from our collection that have stood the test of time and then compare them to some of the new works that are coming out that I hope you'll check out and enjoy. So I have 3 older books and then 4 newer ones as well. So to start off with, if you know me, you know that I love this book, The Snowy Day by Ezra Jack Keats. This book is an old one. It's a Caldecott Medal winner. And anytime I see Caldecott Medal, I think, okay, that's going to be a good one. This is from 1962. And Ezra Jack Keats did both. He's the author and the illustrator. And it's just a wonderful book about a little boy who goes out on a snowy day and enjoys the world. It's one that children of all ages can appreciate, especially living here in the Northeast. The joy of waking up and seeing a snowy day and allowing your imagination to take you outside and just see all the wonder that's around you. I love this book. I read it every year for story time at one point or another. And it's one that I recommend from 1962, a Caldecott Medal winner. I think the new updated classic that I hope people will enjoy is this one from 2020. It's called Raven, Rabbit, Deer by Sue Farrell Huller, illustrated by Jennifer Faria. And the author is from Canada. And I think, again, this is a wonderful book. This is about a young boy, one of the First Nations people, which is what Indigenous people are called in Canada. A little boy and his grandfather go out into the snow and they see the tracks of all these different animals. And the grandfather is able to pass down knowledge to his grandson, pass down knowledge, culture, language, all in a snowy afternoon. They're able to spend that time together. So whether you're looking for a winter read to cuddle up and read together or a book for Grandparents' Day, I think this is a wonderful selection that you and your child will really, really enjoy. The next classic is Goodnight Moon. And I know that this is one that parents will get at a baby shower. Anytime a new baby comes along, Goodnight Moon is trotted out. This is by Margaret Wise Brown, pictures by Clement Hurd. This book has a copyright of 1947, and it won some awards more recently. There's a Parents' Choice Award in the late 90s. But it's been around for several generations. And it's one of those books that's just so wonderful to read at night, putting your child down for a nap, because it has a wonderful lulling quality about it. As you read, you're saying good night to all the things in the room. You're setting a pattern of saying good night, of winding down, of calming down at the end of the day. And it's very soothing to listen to. It's one that I think some people love, some people hate. There's a funny story that you could find on the internet of a librarian at the New York Public Library who really didn't like this book. But again, it's one that has stood the test of time. And if you're looking for a book to help settle your child at the end of the day, this could be a very good choice. The new classic, I think, is this one. The Night is for Darkness. It's written by Jonathan Stutzman, illustrations by Joseph Kufler. And we have bought a bunch of books by this author, Jonathan Stutzman. We have at least 4 of his books that he came out with in the past year or so. And his books range from very funny and very wacky and silly to this one, which is very sweet. And it has that same characteristic that Goodnight Moon has, where there's some repetition. This is a book that rhymes, and it's wonderful for a good night read. The very last line is one that I absolutely love. The night is for darkness and soft silver beams, for closing your eyes and entering dreams. And in this book, there's a family that's moving from one house to another, all at nighttime, and the wonderful things that they see as they are going from their old house to the new one. I strongly recommend it. It's very peaceful. It's a smooth and quiet read. It's nice for, again, curling up together, and it's perfect for nighttime. The third classic that I wanted to mention is The Little House by Virginia Lee Burton. Again, it's a Caldecott Medal winner. And this book is from 1942. So really, this is an old one that has stood the test of time. It's about a little house that is out in the countryside, sort of minding its own business and letting families grow up and move away. And then big change comes. The city comes closer and closer and encroaches. And it's written from the perspective of the little house and all the things that happen around her. And I remember having this read to me and worrying for the little house and what might happen to her. Fortunately, it's a happy ending, but I think it's a wonderful read with a little bit of suspense that a child will enjoy, and you really do feel for what will happen to this sweet little house. The 2 that I wanted to compare it to that are updated, and all these new books are from 2020 that I mentioned. The first is The Little Blue Cottage, and you can see right off the bat some of the similarities. It is written from the perspective of the house, just like The Little House was. And here we have a young girl and her dog. And you see as the seasons change and the girl grows up, the little house waits for her. This is the family's summer cottage. And she has the chance to wait for this little girl who goes away for a while after she's started to grow. And the little blue house wonders, the little cottage wonders what will happen to her and what has happened to the little girl. Again, we have a nice happy ending. It's a little bit bittersweet, but I think it's a wonderful, gentle read that your child will really enjoy. The final book is called The Blue House. And so we had The Little House by Virginia Lee Burton, The Little Blue Cottage by Kelly Jordan, illustrated by Jessica Courtney Tickle, and The Blue House, which is by Phoebe Wall. And I love this book. I did a book talk before about social emotional learning. And when I think of that term, I think about teaching children about empathy, understanding, and how to process their emotions and display them appropriately. And when I read this book, that idea, that phrase popped into my head. This book is about a little boy who grows up in this old house that's next to a tall fir tree with his father. And unfortunately, the house is falling down a little bit, and it turns out that they have to move. He doesn't want to. that's scary for him. And in a very brief book, short sentences, not very many pages, the author is really able to explore the feelings that that little boy has of fear, of anger, of loss, and the way that he expresses it. The author is also the illustrator, and she's able in the pictures to show the worry and concern that the father has for his little boy. And I just think it's a very moving book. I think it's very sensitive. And there's just one little part that I really wanted to show you. Here, they've moved into their new house, and the walls are empty. The house feels very bare. And the little boy, Leo, says, "I hate it." And the father says, "That's okay." And I love that. I love that the dad allows his son to express himself in that way, that the dad accepts that and says it's a normal way to feel when you're facing change or something scary. I think it's a very sensitive and thoughtful book. And it's one that, again, I hope that you and your children will enjoy, for the wonderful pictures, for the dialogue, and for the things that the child is facing, very real fears. So again, these are all books that we own that we would love for you to take out. But again, they are the classics, the standards that have stood the test of time, and these new books that I'm really hoping you will enjoy and that you will pass along to your kids. I really enjoyed doing this particular book talk for you. I'm looking forward to finding more treasures in our collection that I am hoping to highlight for you. If you're interested in any of them, just give us a call or go into your account and check them out. We'll be happy to give them to you through curbside pickup. But thank you very much for watching and supporting the Millbrae Public Library, and take care.